All right. Good morning, everyone. It has been a second since we've been on here. Life has been busier lately, and we have some schedule changes around here. It's just been harder to get on. So I wanted to try and hop on today to try and make some more teardrops. I made a couple. You may have seen them on the YouTube feed. If you follow me on Instagram, you may have seen it there. I just want to make some more of these. This is something that a gal on Instagram started the idea to paint single teardrops as kind of a support, solidarity, all of the things for what the tragedy that happened in Uvalde, Texas last week. So that's what we're going to do. I think I want to preface this by saying that I don't want the discussion to go into debating how we fix this necessarily. I know that guns are definitely a really sensitive topic and people have all kinds of feelings about it. And I think I want this space to be where we all come together for support only, for kindness only, and those debates. This isn't our space for that. I want this space to be a place where we remember that we can come to the table with all different kinds of beliefs and still have support for a common cause. And we'll just save the debates for different venues. This one isn't it, I don't think. So let's go ahead and make some teardrops. We'll see if anyone shows up. Good morning, Mikkel, how are you? So I think I'm going to make these very simply, just like I made this one. So I actually used this Posca paint pen because I have it. It's a really thick one, so it's good for kind of painting large things. I used to make the Facebook logo on the back of my rocks for the like to tell people what group the rocks were part of. And I haven't done that in a long time. So I was like, oh, I have this pen. It's perfect for making the shapes that I want. So that's just what I'm going to use. I'm going to fill it in and then add a little bit of white for some dimension. And then on this one, excuse me, I actually put some, it's kind of like translucent metallic watercolor over it to give it that nice shimmery look. And I like how that came out. So that's what we're going to do. It's going to be a quick little hangout because I missed you guys. And then I'll let you get back to your Monday. Hopefully, if you're in the US, you hopefully have the day off maybe. If you're not, you may not have the day off. But we have a holiday today, which is kind of nice. Hopefully everyone's doing well. Looks like we've got 6 of you. Yay. It's a great crowd. Say hi in the chat if you want. And I'm just going to kind of keep coloring on these. And then we'll come back to just working on them kind of in an assembly line format. But this design is very simple. I think it's very simple, very powerful. It's a great idea by, I believe the Instagram account is Rocks by Low, ROCKSBYLO. She's the one that came up with this original idea. And a lot of rock artists are doing it. So it's kind of a neat thing that it's spreading the way it is. So that's great. I have these rocks. I meant to do them at Easter because this rock literally looks like an egg. It's about as eggy as you could get. I'm trying to think how it's best going to stand up, but let's just, where are we the smoothest, I guess. But it seems to me they lend themselves well to a teardrop in this shape, right? So, seems like a lot of people enjoyed the video about the fluid writer. That was a fun one to do. I still need to play with it a lot. I did discover the other night I tried excuse me, using, my voice is still not completely back. I tried using kind of a more glittery watercolor paint that had kind of larger pieces of glitter that you could see in it, and it did not work very well with that. And I think what it was is that those, tiny as they were, those pieces of glitter kind of clog up the little hole that the paint comes out of when you're writing, so the tip of the pen. So I think the paint needs to be as smooth as possible. Some of those metallic water paints are very, like the metallic part is very fine. Like these are probably a good example. You don't see like huge chunks of glitter in these, right? They're pretty smooth. It's in there to make that kind of shimmer and shine, but it's not chunky. I should have brought the other one over here with me. Hi, Terry. How are you? Hopefully you're doing well. So we're just popping on. We're making some teardrops. So I used my Posca paint pen. I had a broad tip Posca paint pen. You thought that pen was interesting, huh, Terry? I feel like I did I'm guilty of the social media thing, and I kind of showed the main, like the good stuff only, because you do have to kind of get a feel for it and figure out what things flow and how you get it flowing. I think there's probably a fair amount. Every time I've pulled it out to start again, it takes me a while to get it flowing. So that is probably a fair piece of advice I need to put out there for people. So I'm just going to take a little bit of water on a paintbrush to loosen this up so we'll be able to blend a little bit of white in. And this is just to kind of add some dimension to the teardrop. And the water kind of loosens up the Posca blue also, so that it will blend nicely. I may need to add some more Posca in here too, but this just creates a little bit of dimension. Too much. And I'm going to set it off to the side to let it dry since it's nice and wet. And we'll do the same thing here. See what we can do. It also helps because some of these rocks have like the little tiny divots and holes in them, you can see. And this loosens up the paint and it allows the Posca blue to kind of sink into those little holes. So just adding a bit of dimension. I am hoping that this week I will have the first video. Goodness gracious, my throat. I had sent a poll out, I think, on the YouTube community page asking if you guys would be interested in some videos on improving writing on rocks, because that seems to be something that gets commented on a lot. and you guys were overwhelmingly interested in that. So I did try and film a little bit of a video last night to kind of kick that series off and start it. So I'm hoping we'll get that out this week. That might even be the tutorial for tomorrow. Jeez, good grief. Get these nice long weekends and then it sneaks up on you. That's okay. We have to do a little shopping today because the kids' summer clothes don't fit the same. So we gotta maybe make a run over to Target and see if we can stock them up for the warm weather now that it's finally trying to show up. Sammy, they're in their last week of school this week. So Sammy's got a field day coming up this week where they get to do all their fun and games outside. Okay, Terry, so your Posca Blue 1MR is behaving badly when sealing. Interesting. And the 1MR is these smaller ones. Like I use the black and white ones a lot for that. This one. Oh, let me open it. So you're using this size. Come on, camera. you were using this size with a blue, it looks like. That's weird. What's it doing that's not sealing properly? I'm curious. Sometimes they can get crackly. I haven't had that happen with the Posca 1 MRs, but I usually go through them pretty quickly because I mostly use those with black and white. So I'm not sure. I wonder if it's crackling or if it's just not cooperating with you. It was 68 degrees. That's a perfect temperature, isn't it? We had some, gosh, we almost hit 90, I think, last week, a couple of days. But then it cooled off for the weekend again, which is not bad. Oh, it runs. Just the blue, not any other color. That is so weird. I wonder if you could put a quick little coat of Mod Podge over it before you seal to kind of seal it in maybe, and maybe it won't run like that. That's so weird. I've never had that happen with the 1MRs. Interesting. I wonder if sometimes there's just bad batches of these paints too, right? Like there's got to be mistakes that happen in the factories and mass productions, and heaven knows we've had all kinds of issues with supplies of all sorts these days, right? So who knows? It's so hard to say. Like how there's a good amount of white on that one. It looks really chunky, but it'll dry. Oh my goodness, I almost just cleaned off my paintbrush on my mouse pad. Doing great, right? I overran a little bit here. Just gonna clean that up with some water. All right, let's see. What have we got dry? Okay, so some of these are almost dry, so I'm gonna prep the. What do I do with my water? Oh, watercolor paints fell. Hold on. Good morning, Rhonda. Nice to see you. I'm so excited we have 8 people. Maybe that's what happens when I go a while in between instead of weekly. So I'm just going to add some drops of water to this blue. It's kind of a translucent. All of these colors, I have to kind of find the right uses for them because they're not really good for coverage. So I had tried them as backgrounds on like base coated rocks, and so Sue has also used Mod Podge on paint pens that run. So that might be our winning piece of advice coming out of the live stream. But these paints, these watercolors are pretty translucent. So they don't do well. Like if you want like a solid, like if I painted a little heart, it's not super solid. So, but being that it's translucent, I think they're perfect for putting over the top of other colors. So, that's true. That's true. Acrylic glitter, that will work too. And 2-step sealing, you could always do like a really light misting, like at a further distance with your spray sealer, if that's the case. I get a lot of questions about how I seal these watercolor paints and if I can directly resin on them, and I haven't had any trouble as long as they're dry. So, I don't know. I guess maybe different experiences or maybe different resins people are using. I'm not sure. And yes, glitter and bling does solve all issues. Now we got another hot day in Indiana. Oh man, we're still pretty, we've got some clouds kind of rolling in, really pretty clouds outside that we might have some cloud cover today. Okay, I'm trying to figure out how I can do this without my hands being in the way. So I'm just going to swirl it out of there, and hopefully you'll see it get added here. You can kind of see how it's that translucent shimmer. It's just perfect for adding a little bit of shimmer to these tears, and kind of, I think it kind of makes it have that wet look, I guess. So around we go, and then I want to make sure that that dries completely. Kind of hard for you guys to see. Let's see, but you can see how there's now some pretty shimmer on there. Make sure I got it around the edge, so I'm going to set that one aside. Sue, I will add it to the description after we're done here, but I actually have a link to this gal. It's an affiliate link, and I've been trying, like, I could care less about making a commission off of it, but if I can refer enough people, she'll give me a discount code. So that's what I've been hoping, is to be able to get a discount code that I could share with you guys. So I will see. Let me see if I can find it really quick here. I might be able to pull it up, and I'll put it in the chat, and then I can put it in the description after the video is over so that you can try them, because I like these tester cards. I haven't invested in like the bigger sets because they're quite expensive. Let me see if I can find the link here. They're pretty expensive, but I like the tester cards because I can play around with many different colors, like where if you invest in the larger tins, it's a little bit more, I found it. It's a little bit more, you're investing a lot more. So I'm going to put this in the chat, and then I'll put it in the description after the video is over. Ooh, I'll keep it tight because my keyboard's way off. Okay, here it comes. All right, so there's the link for the watercolors. I've been using this brand, and I'm a terrible creature of habit, where when I find something I like, I kind of stick with it. But there are a lot of people that make them. I know Rachel's Rocks, that channel, Rachel has gotten into making them, and she sells them on her Etsy. There's also another lady she's on Instagram as the Foiling Rock Lady, I think. And she does these, and people are really raving about her watercolors as well. And I think my next try from a Yuli is going to be some of her neons, because I didn't even look twice at them before, because neon paints have been such a pain for me. And I thought, oh, they're not going to have good coverage. But it sounds like a lot of the watercolors are actually doing quite well. So who knows? But, oh, good morning, Shannon. Thanks for the help. I think this is the most we've had in a live stream in a while. It's so cool. We're almost to 10. Hooray. I wish there was not a reason for us to be making these teardrops, but that is where we are. So we show support however we can. I know I've had to walk away from the news a bunch of times this week, and then I immediately feel guilty because I know that there are families that cannot walk away from everything that's going on because they're living in it. So we do what we can. I think we have to, it's okay to walk away from the news because we have to, get our heads straight to be supportive for people, because I think that's our job as human beings. But it's tough. It's definitely tough. It just seems like we've been living in a barrage of difficult news for a couple of years, and that's kind of heavy. So some of this watercolor is really sinking in. Like this rock has a little bit more of the tiny little holes. Like you pick it up and you think it's super smooth, and then the reality sets in when you actually start painting on it. I'm going to clean up this one a little bit. It's not quite as blended as I wanted. Yes, Sue. I think it's been hard, and I think it's just, I mean, we have to be honest with ourselves, I guess, how it's affecting us, and that's how you move forward and try and be supportive, affect change, all of those things. This one got very watercolory on me, so I think I might try and loosen this up and blend it a bit better. See if we can get this to not be so glossy looking. Okay, I'll let that dry for a sec. Let's see. Shannon's got a question. Rocks, for resining rocks, I'm thinking is what you're saying. Do you get little fish eyes, and what do you do about them? So fish eyes as in like little bubbles in the resin? For bubbles, if that's what you're referring to, I'm not quite sure what little fish eyes would be, but I'm guessing it might be bubbles. I got you on the resin. It wasn't resonating, it was resin. But for bubbles, I usually, I used to take a straw and blow them out. And you just have to be really careful that you're not, no saliva from your mouth comes out, because I think that affects how the resin will cure. But I would blow them out, and now I use a craft gun to blow them out. So, okay. So you're saying it's where you can see a dimple of resin going down into the paint, but it's covering it on the rock. Oh, I have not had that happen yet. I'm wondering if the craft gun might be a good solution for that, because it's air, but it's also heat, so it pops little bubbles quickly, and I'm wondering if it would help. I'm guessing that might be like there's an air bubble underneath, or maybe in one of these little, like these little holes that come in the rocks, and maybe a craft gun would help because it's got the heat also. I think you have to be careful and make sure you read up all the cautions on your craft gun, your resin, well ventilated. I've been seeing a lot more of people recommending that, you wear a respirator regardless when you're resining, because it's just, you don't know. And it's not, I think being over careful is probably better than not being extra careful, right? Like, we never know what's in these. So it very well could be an issue. And if you're heating it up with a craft gun, you could be stirring up different kinds of chemicals. So I definitely think be careful with that, and read up on your resins and whatnot. Oh yeah, a torch would probably do it. Just be careful, make sure you're outside. I'd be afraid of a torch because I'd probably start a fire, but that's me. But I bet that would do the trick, or it's worth a try anyway. Oh my gosh, you got it down in your glove and on your hand. That's not good. What kind of resin do you use, Shannon? Do you use the 2-part epoxy ones that you have to mix that are a little more heavy duty? Or one of the reasons I really like art resin is because they have well documented information. Oh no, I'm leaking off the side of the rock. They're really well documented that they're non-toxic. And I think that's important. Some of these are just not coming out like my one yesterday. They're a little bit like I think exactly what Shannon was talking about. It's sinking into the little holes. Like you can see here, it got kind of like these white pieces in the holes. So I'm going to try and push it around a little bit more. See if we can blend it. That may or may not help though. And then we did put this up in our local rock groups as admins, and I did see one person asked a question about wanting to send these to Texas, and if I had any clue about how to do that, and I don't know who might be collecting them or whatnot, but I think the thing I'm going to do with mine is I'm going to just hide them here in my community, because I think the act of support still stands regardless of where it's happening, right? So that's going to be my choice. That one looks decent. These ones just got funny with the white paint. But then again, when you get resin on them, they do, like, it really helps that shine. So that might be okay. I guess this one has it too. So let's see here. Blend this a little bit more and let it dry. Maybe I'll start writing on these while these are drying, since we can't put the outline just yet. I'm gonna be extra creative here and add a little bit more blue to mix in, because this one's just heavy on the shimmery white. So let's see what happens now. It's different. It's blending it nice, making it nice and blue. Kind of losing some of the shimmer, I think, but that might be okay. So I blended it in a different way. Pretty though. It might be maybe a little bit what I'll do to some of these that got a little bit white. Just add a little bit of blue. It is kind of tie-dye-ish looking, isn't it? And I have no idea what I'm doing. This was not like a super planned thing. I made this example one yesterday, seeing like how quickly and how easily I could do it, and I liked what I came up with these watercolors and the blue and white. It came out pretty good. So let's see how that does. That one looks okay. This one's got a little bit of the white. It's kind of hard to see. You can see how this one is the one that's got all the little holes in it, so it's kind of sinking into the holes a bit. This just kind of blends it a bit. There we go. One more correction on this one, I think, just a little bit. Let's see how we do. Are you guys starting to work on summer rocks, since June is 2 days away, a day and a half away? I have to think about some of the ideas. I have to jot down my ideas, because I get all these ideas and then I forget them when it's time to actually do them. But I have to look at my little black book of ideas and see what to do. Oh, hi, David. I remember you from the message. It's good to see you. Resin question. What do you think of resining the back of the rock first? So, depending on what you use for resin, I use art resin. When I use the art resin, I resin front and back all at once. I just take it in my hands with the gloves and just kind of make sure it's coated. You don't need a lot. And then I set it on these silicone mats, except I don't use, so that right now you guys are seeing the dull side of this because I don't want it to shine in the camera. But on the other side, it's more of a shiny. You can kind of see that. So the shiny side is what I use to set them on when I use the art resin. So I set them on there, backs down, because sometimes you do get a little bit of pooling if you put too much. But I set them on these and let them cure for the 72 hours, and it's good. When I use the UV resin, I often, you have to do one side or the other first, because you have to do it and then cure it. So I often will start with the backs in those cases, but more often than not, when I'm using the UV resin, it's because I want to get something resin so I can show it to you guys for a video, because like you can see here, I haven't done the back yet. So I'll often just do the top so that you can see what's happening with the shininess, and then I'll set all of them aside and then go back through and do an art resin around both sides. So I'm probably not the best example for that, but these silicone mats are amazing for the art resin. I have tried the pokey things. What are they? The cat scat mats. A lot of people use those, or they make boards with nails poking up out of them. And I don't love the pokes that it makes in the resin on the back. They can be kind of sharp and difficult. So I found these and I just love these. They do sometimes get a buildup of the resin and you can peel it off to a point, but at some level, sometimes after you've used them for a long time, they just have too much buildup on there and you got to toss them. But they are great. So massage rock new art therapy stress relief. There you go. Oh, you're in an apartment and they don't want you painting. Gosh, I wouldn't think the craft paints, like, they don't smell. Maybe they're worried people, if you're a not good tenant, that you'd spill. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what the reasoning would be there. Oh, God, you're getting ready to do some rocks today. It's a good day to paint. Good day to paint. I'm going to... They are poop heads. That's a bummer. I think it's going to be tricky on each of these where I write, but I'm going to... And I will probably on these put a coat of Mod Podge on it to keep the natural stone as light as possible, because we all know that the resin can darken the stones. So I'll put the Mod Podge on here so that the stones stay light when I do the resin. So I think I'm going to write in all sorts of different ways on these where it will fit, because they're such little rocks. But I also thought that was appropriate to have these little rocks, because teardrops are little. I'm just making sure the teardrops dry fully before I even venture to put the little border on there. Sorry, I always stop talking when I'm focusing. That's hard. Oops. Let's see. Oh, that's true. Maybe the landlords are afraid you're going to do murals all over the walls or something. That could be. Gosh, being a landlord has got to be tough. I don't know. Like, how do you know that you find all the right tenants and that they don't tear your place up? Like, I can understand that's probably so hard. But you never know. Murals would be cool. Hey, that's improving the place, right? Oh, I feel a sneeze coming. I gotta sneeze. Oof, maybe not. Oh, your husband did a mural on your daughter's bed. Oh, that would be so pretty. You see that a lot now in like nurseries and stuff. People do for their babies, have murals. I would be completely afraid of doing that, because I'm just a doodler. It would be stick people and I don't know what if I did that. Let's see here. Well, this one's very perfectly shaped, so let's see what we can do here. Oh, a large wall mural for twin boys. Oh my goodness, I bet that was cool. Then it would be hard, like what if you had to move from the house, or like when the kids get older and they don't think it's cool anymore. But I wouldn't want to take it down because it's art, right? I'm going to write on both sides of this one because it's not leaving me tons of room. You'd have a stick person mural too. Oh, and mushrooms. There you go. Mushrooms are cool. Gosh, these egg-shaped rocks are kind of difficult to figure out where to write on them. Mm-hmm. I'll do the side again. I'm just going for the sides here. Super careful. All right, got it on there. And I think we're dry enough to get some outlines in here. So I'm going to use, instead of the big thick, that was the Posca PC1MR that I was using to write. So instead of that, for the outline, I want it to be nice and thin. So I'm going to use the Sakura Pigma fine line brush pen. This is one of my favorite tools. It's in so many of the videos, but it's just, I like it because this tip bends kind of like a paintbrush. So you can kind of get thicker, thinner lines. And I'm not necessarily outlining it perfectly on the outline like you'll see on my example. It's just kind of the sketchy look. I guess that's what I call it. It's a sketchy look. And we're dry. So I'm just gonna trying to do it all in one stroke if I can. And then do another here. And then we'll add a little bit of white accent after this, and we will be done for today. I have to go pick up a student at the airport. I work at a university and we have a program happening, and she's coming from out of state. So I have to go pick her up and get her to the dorms. So, busy day on me all of a sudden. I should have brought a thinner brush over here, but we're going to make this use. It's totally okay to just use the sealer. Totally good to just use the sealer. I didn't use resin for years. Like, I've been painting rocks for like 5 years, and I think I've only used resin for the last 2. So totally okay. Thank you. Hi, Tabby. How are you? Glad you made it. You always have the cutest rocks too. I love the ones that you made and shared on Facebook. So I know the one thing about YouTube that I don't love is that it kind of limits our interactions a bit, right? Like, you can't share a picture of what you're doing. So I do love seeing it. So I have a Facebook page for the channel, and then also on Instagram. I'm probably slightly more active over on Instagram. I'm not sure why. But over there, you'd have to, I guess, post your pictures and then tag me so I make sure that I find them. And then Facebook, you can share them right on my page in the comments or whatever. And I love seeing it. It's so cool to see how you guys put your own spin on the designs, or just things that you make. It's so cool. So let's see. What would I use besides resin to coat the whole rock and be safe out in the rain? So before I used resin, I used waterproof sealer that you could find in the spray paint aisle. And so my main characteristics that I would look for is that it was waterproof and UV protection to try and avoid yellowing. So that was the 2 main things. And they do fine out in the rain as long as it's waterproof. I accidentally, when I first started, used Mod Podge had a spray sealer. There was a spray version of Mod Podge, but it wasn't waterproof. So that you have to watch out for. You want to definitely make sure that you grab something that is waterproof. So, oh my God, you're sensitive to smell. So the spray paint ones are smelly. Like you definitely have to do that outside. But the art resin, I don't smell anything from that. I do that inside, no problem. And I think there are some people use a brush on. They use Duraclear. There you go, Tabby. You like read my mind. Duraclear. I have never used that as a sealer. So maybe I was thinking about doing another test soon because I'm curious how these watercolor paints hold up outside. So I had done a test last summer or the year before where I did art resin versus the UV resin, and I put a couple of colors, like lighter colors you would expect to fade. I think it was turquoise and yellow, some glitter paint, and then I wrote with a Posca pen, and then I sealed them, one in art resin and one in UV resin, and I put them outside in the sun for, for 30 days, I think, in direct sunlight, and the art resin yellowed a little bit. I think it was really noticeable next to the UV resin that it had yellowed, but it did yellow out in the sun, and it's supposed to be non-yellowing. And so my theory is that maybe the UV resin holds up better because it cures with UV light, so maybe it can withstand the UV rays better. But I've never used the Duraclear. I believe people brush it on. You're asking Tabby how they use the Duraclear. I believe people brush it on with like a foam brush or a regular brush, and then you have to let it dry. I'm not sure how long. Tabby might be able to tell us how long it takes to dry. But I believe people just brush it on as a sealer. And there are quite a few people, I think, that use that as well. So maybe I'll get some. Tabby, you'll have to tell me if it's a specific... Okay. So she uses a brush and 2 or 3 thin coats. So if you have a specific, because I think there's different kinds of Duraclear, maybe message me what you've got. Maybe I'll get some, and then we'll do another test of art resin, UV resin, and maybe the Duraclear, and put them outside, because I do want to test how these watercolor paints hold up, and also watercolor pencils, because I don't think watercolor pencils hold up very well in sunlight. So I think that would be a neat test to do, and see how it holds up. So it dries very fast. That's good. If it doesn't have to sit there, because like art resin, you got to let it sit there for at least 24 hours before you touch it, and to fully cure, it's 72 hours. So I'm going to write that in my little black book of ideas, because I think that would be a good idea for us to try. So, okay, your hubby's sensitive to smell. So yeah, maybe it's a good option for something you can do. So I think we're gonna start wrapping up here. I'm gonna get some Mod Podge on these and get them sealed and see if we can put them out. These incidents never really go out of my mind quickly, but I think they do sometimes with other people. So I think these will be neat to just put in the community. And I think a lot of people are probably feeling like we are, where it's hard news, it's hard stuff to watch, hard to think about the tragedies. So I don't think we can forget about them immediately. We cannot become immune to these. Just can't. Okay, so Deco Art Duraclear. I'm gonna look for that. I think I have a like a $5 rewards at Michael's, so maybe I'll use it towards that. So you're super welcome, Shannon. I do my best. Some of this stuff is just stuff I stumbled across, so I'm definitely not a huge expert. I'm a trial and error person. So I'm so glad we got to spend some time together. It's been a while. I'm hoping to have a new newsletter out. I'm trying to aim to do that around the first of the month, every month, because I got off track with that. If you're not signed up, it's just an email list. It's always in the description of the videos. I don't spam you. I don't have time to spam you. I went months without doing anything on it. And I'm just trying to do a monthly thing with that. And I guess it's kind of personal, kind of this and that. But if you're not signed up for that and you want to get an email from me every month, that's cool. If not, cool too. But other than that, I guess tomorrow is Tutorial Tuesday, so there should be something popping up for you there. And I won't be able to do any live streaming next weekend because I have a work conference that we're running, and we have to be all hands on deck on Sunday, so I won't be able to. And Shannon's being so helpful. She's saying, don't forget to hit that like button, I believe she means, not bottom. But thank you guys so much for hanging out. And I will see you probably in a couple weeks. We should be able to pull off another live. School will be out. Things will hopefully be settled in, and we'll be good to go. So thank you so much for hanging out. Have a great week. Stay kind to yourself, to others, and keep spreading your kindness through your artwork. And I will talk to you guys later. Take care. Bye, Tabby. Bye, Sue. Bye, Shannon. Bye, Mikkel. Bye, David. I will see you guys in a couple weeks. Take care. Bye.